Hello, everybody. How's it going? I have a little list that I channeled. I'm going to call this How to Prepare for the Shift. So, sort of like the beforehand of things that I want to get into that can help you feel more prepared and feel ready for the changes that are in the midst of happening and that are going to be taking place as well. So, the first thing that I have on the list is all about love. It's always going to start there, it's always going to end there, and it's always going to be immersed and intertwined with everything in between. But very much there being a focus on freeing the heart channel. So if there's any resistance that you're feeling still, if there's any needing to work through shadow work, to work on forgiveness, because it's easy to say, like, just show up and be as loving as possible. However, if we haven't done the work to get to that place, it's not going to feel authentic to us, you know? So it's about taking the journey to get there truly within your heart. So if there is old energy, meaning anything from the past that you were holding on to that's still creating heaviness, animosity, anxiety, anything that's having you feel closed off, it's something that you want to look into and release. The reason being is that as we are going through these movements and these shifts and these upgrades and eventually leading to the bigger one that we're going to be entering into, all of these things want to be released through you. And so if you are doing this now, it's going to save you having to do it later. And when we get into the bigger upgrades that we experience, it's going to feel much more unpleasant if you're still holding on to those things that are blocking your heart chakra. Okay? And that can be even manifesting in ways that physically feel uncomfortable. So you want to focus, especially right now, on releasing anything that you need to release. Something is coming to mind here. For those of you that like to listen to audio tapes and stuff like that, I'm sure that you can find it on YouTube. I know that it's also on Spotify. If you guys look up Ram Dass speaking about the heart chakra and also speaking about righteousness, it can help ease you into the process of recognizing that you sort of have two options when you feel like somebody has betrayed you and you have a right to feel the way that you do towards them, and that's why you're not letting go of it. And it comes down to this line of it being, you can hold on to righteousness or you can get free and be able to clear the heart channel. And so for those of you that are in a place where you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to give this up, you know, I really feel like I've been wronged and I have a right to feel this way, which you do on a particular plane of awareness and consciousness, and you are in a spot where you're like, although I do feel like that, there's this part of me that feels inspired or interested in maybe hearing somebody else's perspective, maybe something more deeply that's going to resonate with you and allow you to actually let go of something that you don't really want to be holding on to anymore. And that's really just going to continue to be a burden for you and not allowing you to fully realize what you're meant to be realizing if you so choose that path. So yeah, that was the first thing. Let me see what else we have on here. Yeah, doing the work now, especially forgiveness. Forgiveness also means self-forgiveness as well, too. There are other things that go into that, but we're just keeping it sort of an umbrella topic for now. It's going to make it easier when the bigger transition happens. Mindfulness, awareness, and observing. This means not taking things personally. It just means being aware of your surroundings. When the person doesn't hold the door for you in front of you, again, not taking it personally. It's also just about observing things in a way where you can recognize the emotional experience that you're having and not identify with that. This is, again, going to come back into shadow work, into being the observer. Also, too, something coming through as well is that when you sit into that place of sort of watching everything, watching life happen as if it's sort of like a movie that you're watching, okay? And being in the audience in that way, many of you have begun picking up on this already, and it's something that's going to continue to be more and more prevalent and also obvious to you. And this is the concept of the polarity and the shift that's happening currently, kind of like the stretching out that is soon going to get so thin that it is going to break at a point. But right now, what's stretching out is the polarity, which means that basically you are going to start seeing two sides of things. On one end of things, you are going to see people that are connected with the vibration of fear, that whether they're consciously aware of it or not, may be manipulating or manipulated through the energy of fear, through the vibration of fear. On the other side of that, there is going to be love, there's going to be wisdom, there's going to be acknowledgement, there's going to be empowerment, there's going to be truth, and there's going to be teamwork and integration. And so you're going to see that split. You'll see there will be people that are channeling the frequency of like empowerment, and you can do this too, and we can all do it together, and like follow your dreams and follow your courage. And if something happens and you trip, like you're going to be able to catch yourself, or somebody's going to be there to catch you, you know, like that sort of thing that allows you to feel like you're not alone. There's a sense of community. You are loved, you are special, you are cared for, and embracing those aspects of you in that way, versus the people that are channeling fear, where it's like doom and gloom and this is going to happen and it's not going to be okay, and just all of that stuff that's connected with a sense of like scaring people and manipulating them through that, and that being very self-serving versus service to others. Okay. So that's also something as well that you may be becoming more aware of. Like, you could be talking to somebody and you hear them really caught in a redundancy of negativity. You can be catching yourself doing that and be like, wow, I didn't realize that I was doing that. And now I have this sense of self-awareness that I'm tapping into, where I'm becoming more and more aware of this. So it's allowing you to understand yourself through the reflective interactions that you're having with others. And also just being mindful too, just in general, of yourself, of your feelings, of how you're feeling when you're connecting with others too, and that being an indicator as well of whether or not something is resonating with you. Like, do you feel like you can be open and you want to open up and you feel safe and you feel energized? Or when you're around certain like situations, environments, people taking in certain information, do you feel lethargic? Do you feel drained? Do you feel like it's kind of sucking the energy out of you? Okay, next thing, tuning in, joy versus depression. Okay, I know depression is a clinical term, but I feel like it's become, I'm hearing colloquial enough that it would be interpreted in the way that it needs to. Okay, so joy and depression or sadness or lack of inspiration, they are like a similar vibration, but they're just on separate ends of the spectrum, okay? This is something that as you are growing more mindful, you are going to become more and more aware of and more in touch and in tune with. You want to pay attention to what feels exciting to you, what feels inspiring to you, what feels motivating to you, and what draws you in the direction of your joy and fulfillment and happiness, and to keep following that. Even if an option is just a little bit more exciting than the rest of them, just move in that direction until you feel like something else is popping up and feels like that's catching your attention more and it feels more exciting to you. And you want to be sitting within your heart. So this is not a superficial process, but something that you are deeply feeling. Like, what wants to be birthed through you? What wants to be created through you? What do you want to connect with? What can you genuinely participate in or with or around that has you feeling just like happiness when you sit within your heart space? Versus what has you feeling uninspired? What has you feeling a sense of dread, a sense of obligation, things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're for some reason forcing yourself to do that? this is also where there's that like polarity that's happening. Go towards the things that are inspiring to you. Go towards the things that are joyful for you. Allow yourself to be motivated and to just continue sort of following the trail and the path of that, because the most beautiful and important thing about this concept is that for those of us that are interested in tapping into our deeper purpose and our deeper mission, the blueprint and the compass are the things that you find naturally interesting, that you're like, I want to learn more about that, or I get so excited when I get to read about this topic, or every time I'm talking to people about this, I feel this sense of like invigoration within me, or every time I'm participating in that, it just is sparking something within me and I feel very lit up. It's like calling your energy back to you. And that is going to be kind of a path that you navigate that will reveal to you more and more about your purpose. And you're going to find, as everybody starts migrating in that direction, we are all going to end up in the same place. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, even though each of us have different paths and different things that we can be interested in, all paths lead home, essentially. And that's why getting on that train of thought, I'm hearing that train of energetic currency is going to get you to where you want to go in the grand scheme of things, okay? And it's going to bridge us all together as well. Also, too, last thing that I have here. If you are in a place where you feel like the veil is thinning, or you want to thin it out a bit more, and you're trying to get in touch with past memories that are going to be helpful and relevant for you now, whether this be from this lifetime or past lifetimes, take a minute, just 1 minute, 60 seconds, okay? Get yourself into a place where you feel centered, get quiet enough to listen and to just tune in, try to clear your mind, and just for 1 minute, repeat to yourself, I choose to remember. This is a very, very powerful technique that is going to sort of get the ball rolling. That doesn't mean that you're going to be a great place to do this, a great time to do this is when you're falling asleep at night, just repeating this mantra over and over again. I choose to remember, I choose to remember, until you fall asleep. You may begin having dreams. You will begin seeing synchronicities and signs. Each of us have different ways that our guides communicate with us. And so some of us may be more receptive to angel numbers. Some of us may be more receptive to a conversation thread that we keep hearing being brought up again and again. Some of us may be more in tune with something that we keep seeing on our explore page, that it's like, I've seen this 5 times. This really feels like it's sticking out to me now. So no matter how it is, I choose to remember is going to get the ball rolling, where there are going to be things that are slowly in incrementally going to be coming back to you and allowing you to realize your deeper mission, your deeper sense of self, your deeper sense of purpose, and it's going to continuously make things more clear to you, and this is going to be an activation for you, okay? Also know too that like some of you may feel like a surge in energy immediately. For most of you guys, it's going to feel more like a sort of slow like unfurling that happens, okay? So know that if you go to bed saying this to yourself, know that you're not going to necessarily wake up and be like, wow, I remember everything. It's going to be more so a process of things sort of thawing out, we can say. All right. And with that being said, that is everything that I have to say, everything that came through that is meant to be shared and communicated with you guys. As always, I hope that you are all doing well, sending everybody immense love.